I am Dr. Sharon Rudy. I'm the CEO and Chief Champion of Team Rudy LLC. I am confident and expectant that my $24,000 a month program is going to become a $40,000 a month program.
24K diamond. That when I said it out loud, I was like, sounds like a
Two
dream
more clients. I'm
More?
up to 8 now. I'm probably 9 by the end of the week.
Wow. How
Yeah,
does it feel? Congratulations.
like being successful. And now you know how it is. Every success creates a whole new set of challenges, right?
But also, you joined us 12 months ago, right? And so when you joined
Yeah.
us last January, you had no idea where your people were. It felt like the only problem was just like, how do I get this out here, right? And so
Yeah,
now to be in a place with the opposite of that problem,
right. Right. It's like,
um, is a huge indicator of your growth. And Ori's here. He always likes to say,
hi,
cheers
Ori.
to growth. Yes, that's what we want
Hi,
to use
Sharon.
Hi
this
there.
time for today. Is cheers to growth, right? Looking at
Yes.
everything like your transformation, knowing it's commencement, right? It's like you're
Right.
graduating from
Right.
DLC, but it's a
Right.
new beginning. It's a new beginning.
Okay.
Cool. Yeah.
Yes.
So have you, I mean, it's very timely with the New Year's, but have you had any time to reflect? Or one of my coaches, her exercises is to make a brag list, like bragging about everything that you accomplished last year. Have you done anything like that for yourself?
I have not, but I can certainly think about uh, comparing sort of where I was earlier in the year and where I am now. And I think I was lucky in that my client group was because I'm a professional life coach, my client group is well situated in the LinkedIn territory. And I've got, and the program that you've created, the whole sort of generating campaigns and on Ulink and using Navigator and then using LinkedIn was just a good match for me. I wasted so much at the beginning of the year just not sort of being not entering into. I was doing a lot of stuff with the book. I was doing a lot of writing, and I wasn't really focused on the business. And that's one of my big takeaways is much more of I should dare I say it, CEO mentality, much more of a business. I spend a lot of time now looking at the analytics. Every week I'm reviewing like where in the system are things
Yeah.
slowing down? Where, is there, a space for a new intervention? And Alice just, oh my God,
Yeah.
she's an
I
entrepreneur
really
herself, you
We were
know.
so impressed with everything she was able to do between your surgery and the holidays, having
Yes,
to come back, still seeing that cash flow, even when you were
yeah,
rehabbing and hopefully sipping hot toddies. We
right.
love
Yeah,
how,
really,
yeah,
really.
sorry, don't mean to pry.
Yeah, and she does all my marketing. That was really a smart idea, Ori, because she does all my marketing research calls and she gets them into the sale. I do all the sales calls, and that really keeps me on top of my game.
Yeah.
And those sales call, I think I spent the first 6 months of this program really feeling incompetent and not wanting to, just like resisting learning about the sales piece of this. And now I look forward to sales calls. I enjoy them. I think they're fun. And I also, and I mean, I've listened very carefully to your messages, and uh, I, I, I'm not attached to the outcome. I always have my, I sort of redid the dealing with protests, right? That dynamic, the money, the fear, the no
Objection.
time, you
Yeah.
gotta, the objections, good strategy. So I kind of rework that, and I have that available to me, and it's always available to me, but now I've done so much of it, I kind of know already what to say for this issue that comes up and that issue that comes
Yeah.
up.
Yeah.
And most of the people that I talk to, because the people that can't afford me they get weeded out during the marketing research process. And so,
Are
yeah,
deep in those, yeah, you are deep in the sales waters. And I think
yeah,
that
right,
is such
right.
a honest reflection for you to know that you were kind
Yeah.
of avoiding that at the beginning,
Oh, not
right?
even
Because
kind of. I was like, I
yeah,
don't know, how do I get out of this? I don't know,
right.
how I'm gonna. But I also think that your program is really it's very step by step. You don't really throw us in the deep end immediately. And so if someone is just if someone is willing to just do each week some work towards it, and it's
Yeah,
all very, short videos, short creating, all of that, that really, once I actually got into it, that really made it much more
yeah,
like math. I was like, okay, I can master this. But I
yes,
think that so the content is brilliant. The content is, it just covers everything related to um, mastering a
yeah.
business, right?
Well, as you're speaking, I'm having a flashback to a conversation we had in June where we gave you the homework to just brainwash yourself, listen to our sales residency training.
Yeah.
And I think that's like the shift, right, that you're talking about when it was like, okay,
Mhm.
I'm just going to show up and like listen to the system. And I
Yeah.
think the doctor frame training and then also
Yeah.
that objection handling class from Ore really helped
Uh,
you. Yeah, what do you think from those? I think those two
yeah.
specific made
I
a big
think that
impact for
I
me.
they're really good examples of how you didn't just create something and sell that something, that you were honing, you were learning from your clients, you were listening to our questions, and you were coming up with new solutions, better solutions. And those two things, the sales residency and the overcoming objections work, is really an example of the kind of learning ethos that's in your business. And so there's always this sense of, I mean, I intend to check back in with you at certain points to see what's new, what's the latest. But the other thing I wanted to mention is that it feels safe to do the online training and the videos and have that, sort of always be available. But every single person that I met with on your team was so smart about their technical areas, and they were so kind and so generous. And for someone like me, it's so easy to feel stupid. I mean, I know that I'm brilliant and blah, 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 but this territory, I just had so many limiting beliefs around this territory of business, of selling, especially selling me. And so I felt like at times you could have shamed me and you didn't. And I really appreciate that you held my feet to the fire. You made, you talked me into committing to goals, right? I felt like you held my hand through, some things, even though both of you are, so easily entrepreneurial. I know you don't, I just know that you probably can't relate to the fear that I have. But I just, felt like you never judged me around that. And you made it a safe space which is actually very psychologically sophisticated. I do have to say that there's always a part of me that's observing while I'm interacting. So I'm like, oh, that was a good comment. Oh, that's like, yeah, I like that good open question. Anyway, so I really appreciated Megan and Mitchell. I mean, really informed, smart people who never made me feel stupid or like, Sharon, this is the fourth time I'm telling you this, even though, Ori, you knew that you had told me that four times previously, you didn't beat me up very much. So I appreciated that. So I just feel really like certainly I invested and then I made, at least twice as much as more than
Yeah,
I invested in the program. So
yeah,
it took me longer than it should have, but I'm here where I am, and feel like the only limit I have is my time, and so I can take as many clients as I potentially
yeah.
want.
Now, all of this you're saying, Sharon, is exactly what we desired for you. I mean, like we engineered this community and environment to be as supportive as possible. As you were just talking about, like the learning ethos. It's about like Hannah and I always thought about the system from a perspective of what are the problems and how can we make it as easy as possible to overcome that problem. And that reminds me of even when you were going through the process and you were taking all this, you were booking all these market calls and it had become overwhelming for you and you were like, you know
Yeah.
what, someone needs to come in here. Uh, what was it like for you before, you got the setter solution, before we, taught you how to recruit the setter and, how is it like now that, you have someone like that? Like, can you talk about how that played a role into, this most recent huge month that you had, 24K?
Oh, I definitely was very resistant to adding staff because when I retired, I had been, overseeing, a couple thousand people for 20 years. And even though I had three deputies, I was just and I knew how much I depended on human resources for all the professional stuff, and payroll and all of that. And I was really trying to be a business of one. And um, it just became clear that I wasn't going to that it was not efficient. It was not a good use of my time, and that there was a way that I could bring talent in onto the team, and I did call it Team Rudy. So
Yeah,
um, and I think that you made this program made it really easy to figure out how to do that. I mean, you had like a whole training on how to hire people, setters, all of that. You had laid out a lot of advice and links where you could go find people like that, and that once because the system itself, the technical system, the technology was giving me a lot of calls, right? I was getting a lot of
yeah,
people willing to call me and talk to me, but I was spending so much time doing that it was becoming a problem, and overcoming the resistance to add to the staff um, was really important to my growth. it was hit,
Yeah.
you know, you just like you grow and then the company hits a barrier and you have to
I think your
manage the
revenue reflects
barrier.
that too, right?
Yeah,
From when a
yeah, for
setter came in
sure.
to
Yeah,
revenue and client, multiple clients in a week now today.
yeah.
That's
This week I made $8,000 this week. Yeah, for sure.
Oh,
So it's a now when I
and
say
it's
that,
only Thursday.
but
We
that
love a
makes
good
it
recurring payment, right? Your cash flow
yes,
for
yes.
February is already looking
Yes,
better than it
now
ever was. Yeah.
totally. Now the monthly's coming in, and my administrator, my other virtual assistant manages all that. We've got
yeah.
our system. I know she sends out the invoices. I know when they're coming in. I confirm with the bank. It's just really, it feels like a real CEO role here that I've got.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
I love
yeah.
I love what you're sharing there, Sharon. And I guess like I have a question, right? With this, 6 clients in a single month, how easy, how much more qualified has it felt, being able to wait on the back of, your setter taking the market calls and you just having to finally close them. That's coming off the back of you being a new CEO who has gone through sales residency, who now has a full team, and all you have to do is basically take these calls and convert them into clients. How has that made it, much more fun and easy for you to convert into clients?
Well, type of I don't have to talk so much. I mean, it's more they've seen that between the marketing research call, they get the manifesto and a link to set up a discovery call. And the
Yeah,
discovery call is specific around, you know, the expectation is that there's going to be a conversation about whether we would be a good fit working together. So it's just much easier to talk to somebody who's already understood what you do, how you do it, and they've already had a chance to think about. They made the effort to set up a second meeting
yeah,
with the team, and so it's the questions I ask them are much more about what did you like about what you heard? How does that fit the things you talked about that were causing you pain or you know that were frustrating you? And so the questions
yeah,
are more about linking them to their pain and then starting the visioning work, you know. And of course, eventually they say, well, how much is it? And I say, well, it's this. And that I get yeses. I get they're sort of bent towards the yes now,
yeah,
and so the system makes the sales call moment. They're not cold calls. They're
yeah.
already informed. They
Mhm.
understand. They they've already made connections between their pain and my solution. And so it's reminding them of that and reminding them of, and and then I've been very helped by the document that is how do you deal with the objections, and I've come up with some other ways to talk about it, and so it's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. How much more confident, right, do you feel now, let's say going into 2026, knowing that you have such a qualified process in place where, someone has to, meet with your setter first and then watch this manifesto, and then learn and get to love your process so much before then speaking to your ads. How much more confident does that make you going into 2026?
Oh, it's everything. I mean, it makes those phone calls. It makes those phone calls fun because they are already they're already positively disposed towards a connection, making a connection. And it's just, and mostly it's reminding them of the value, the transformational value of what it would mean for them to work with me. And I've added a lot since then. I've added workbooks on each of I've sorted into vision, value, voice, visibility, and vibe, which are all the important chapters of my books, but now I changed it to make it all V's because I think that's so cool.
Very good.
True. Yeah, and it's memorable, right?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and yeah, and so I feel like I I always said I wanted 10 clients at any one time. I wanted 10 clients. And I no longer feel like that is an unheard of goal that I'll never reach. That is yeah, that's going to be done. Now I'm looking at, you know, that's not enough, right? That's 40,000. No, I want to make 40,000 a month. So how do I do that, right? So you're
Yes.
just like, what's the
Yes.
next goal? What's the
Well,
next goal?
and your CEO brain is really shining through here because we
Mm,
started talking about, the Sharon who started here 12 months ago kind of really avoided the sales stuff, right?
yeah, yeah,
And most
totally.
coaches think that's just that conversation where I have to convince people or try to give them free value. But what you're speaking to now, Sharon, is that you realize it wasn't just about more calls or more stuff you didn't want to do, but putting together this whole system
Right.
that eventually, you added the setter into, then we added the manifesto into, so that now, as Ori asks you about your 2026, you're looking at, okay, I'm going to have easily 10 people in front of me that want to work with me every single month.
Yeah,
I get to just do that. And so sales isn't just about like the conversation, but you learned it's
right,
even like how you frame your book. And I
right.
think, at the beginning, it was like, okay, guys, I have this book. What can we do with my book? Okay, guys,
Right.
I want
Yeah,
to do
yeah, yeah,
this like disjointed
yeah,
thing, right? Like most
yeah,
coaches are just like spaghetti, shiny object, but you now have a sales and client acquisition system. Much
yeah,
of it you've delegated out. And
yeah,
I know for me in that transition too, if, I was thinking about Ori's question, and it is, like you said, Sharon, just like night and day between being a reactionary coach who just hopes for 10 clients versus a
yeah, yeah,
CEO
yeah,
who's showing
yeah.
up and knows that sales is just like humming in the background.
Right. And the other thing too, as I reflect on the early days of last year, I think I was really afraid of the technology too. I knew that the logic of it made sense in terms of what we do with Ulink and then what we do with SalesLink and then how that fits in with LinkedIn, um, Sales Navigator, sorry, and but I really was scared of it. And I think that was the initial resistance is like, I don't even know how to begin to set this up. And Mitchell just held my hand and we did it together. And, and then now I have, both of the virtual assistants have their hands in there and they're like they check it every day. They make sure everything is running. I do the campaigns. I manage the campaigns because I know what I'm looking for. And I know what works and what doesn't in terms of people that are going to buy my
Getting in
services.
front of the
So
right
Yeah.
people.
yeah, exactly, exactly. And that I'm lucky, I think, in that, global health, international development professionals, health professionals yeah, they're in LinkedIn, they're populating LinkedIn, and now
Yeah.
LinkedIn's 1.5 billion people. So I only need,
Mhm.
a few of
Mhm.
those. So
Absolutely. Now, Sean, as you say that, and you mentioned that in the early days, you were worried about, oh, how am I going to get good at sales? You were scared about the tech. I'm very curious, what was it in you mindset wise that despite being frightened by the tech, you looked at the system and felt like, I want to stay here? And if I stay here and I trust the system and I trust this team,
Yeah.
I will get the outcome I'm looking for.
I think part of it was that I had invested at the time that I went with you all. It was the most money that I had spent on training, and it felt like if I burned that opportunity, uh, I would I would just feel so horrible about it, because I knew that there was value in it. But I think the other part is that, because you had set up a community, and because the experts, including you two, are available for for personal support, I felt like I had joined a community that I didn't want to let down. I didn't want to be the person that had been around for 6 months and done nothing. But it was like I I need to be braver. I need to be braver. I need to get things done. I need to take action. I need to step into the fray. I just felt, in fact, I wrote this for myself. I bravely get things done. That was really like no more avoiding, no more,
Yeah.
saying not all my health issues were giving me permission to not do things. No, that I just stopped all that and realized that if I just took each step, and that's one of the brilliant things about your program, is that if you take each step, then it will bring you along. If you just show up, if you do the modules, if you do the connect with the group, the support group is fabulous. Other clients that you have ask such great questions. They have similar needs. Lots of things get answered. I mean, there's tons of support in the program.
Yeah.
So, there, yeah,
Because it is so easy to stay in that arguing for your limitations place. And I
yeah,
think all of that brave work that you're doing is really the reflection of the reality that it's much easier to play big than to play small. When you're
yeah.
someone like you, Sharon, who's just like literally sitting on money. We've told you that for so long, right?
You
Like
did, you
are
did.
the expert, you have this
Yeah.
entire life experience, you have books, you could go do a webinar tomorrow if we asked you to.
Yes, I could. Exactly.
But we argue for our limitations, right? And I
Yeah.
think even the way that you're thinking about your year this year, where last year your goal was 10 clients. And now that feels so silly to play that small, but to
That's
be playing bigger is actually looking easier for you. And you're seeing how 10 clients every single month is going to create the lifestyle and the freedom and the impact that you thought you were going to get by playing small or waiting or
yeah,
letting life vacation, all those other things. And I think that's something that
yeah,
like holds most people who are sitting on money or potential back. It's the fallacy that playing small is easier when it's actually way harder to stay stuck
yeah.
and play small, but like you're, just doing the choose your hard. Make the sticky note, I'm gonna be brave, and then
Mhm.
follow the plan.
Got a lot. Now I've got 10,000 people on my LinkedIn, so I'm doing pretty good. And a
I
lot of these
mentioned
people are
you
clubhouse people.
I mentioned you on a sales call this week, and the woman looked you up like during the call, and she was like, "I'm nothing like Sharon. Sharon has 10,000 followers," and she thought you were like this huge deal. And I was like, "Well, Sharon didn't
You
look
don't
like that when
know.
she started working with us."
She's a
So
big loser. She was a big scaredy cat
yeah,
loser.
I mean,
Honestly, I have to say, your company gets major credit for the success I'm having now. Honestly, there's no way I could have the business systems that I do, the way that I think, the way that I approach my business. I mean, it really has been transformational for me, and I'm so grateful to you.